Alright. Let's begin the class trial. Class trial in session.
Let's get this started, shall we? Welcome back to the trial grounds,
It'll
everyone.
be so nice not to voice anyone. Ugh.
Unlike previously, today will be no circus. No mockery woven with stitches and needles. A true, fair, and proper trial will commence. A battle of wits between the blackened and the spotless. I doubt I have to explain the rules to you again. But even so, you must vote for who you believe is the blackened. If the blackened receives the majority of votes, only they will be punished, and the rest of you will resume your killing game experience. However, if you vote for the wrong person, then expect no sympathy from your hosts. All spotless students will meet a tragic end, or the blackened will be granted release from this academy. Happy
Wonderful.
discussing. We pray for your survival and success.
I love him so much.
Can someone please break this silence?
I don't want to talk about this.
Womp womp.
Wolfgang deserves justice. But putting everyone's lives on the line like this is just cruel.
Well, that's the name of the game, man.
Oh, crap. Without a lawyer, we're totally screwed. Whenever I turn my head, I keep expecting to see him at his podium.
Oh, don't cry, Toshiko. He's in a better place now, you hear?
Oh, she's so sweet. Yeah, no, Chichiko's like 14.
Whichever one of you sick bastards did this, whatever it takes, no matter if I have to kick the brains out of every single person here, I'll find you.
Do you really gotta resort to violence?
Let's just stay calm, okay? Making peace with our situation is, the first step in handling it.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
How the hell can I stay calm when there's a killer on the loose?
Well, you liked Wolfgang,
that bastard
so...
is watching us right now, fully content putting our lives on the line. Is that what you call peace? Being at the mercy of some dickhead silent observer?
Well... Nobody knows for sure if the killer is even a silent observer. If
She makes a point.
The killer might try to feign innocence through other means. For instance, pretending to be outspoken about the case.
Ooh. Damn, she's already throwing shade. Love it.
Are you accusing me of something?
I mean,
Kind of.
What you did during the investigation seems really suspicious.
What did Grace do?
She stood in front of Wolfgang's dorm room and wouldn't let anyone go inside. Intentionally or not, it really hindered our investigation.
Because of Grace, almost everyone who planned to investigate Wolfgang's dorm gave up and went elsewhere. It was only after some of us started protesting that she finally relented. You know, for someone who seems so adamant about finding Wolfgang's killer, it's odd she tried to conceal potential evidence.
Yeah, I think she was just hiding something else.
I'm not saying Grace is definitely
I don't
the
think
killer.
it's Grace.
I just think we should be cautious of her.
She has an alibi, though.
Yeah?
Huh?
Grace couldn't have murdered anyone, 'cause she went to the game tournament.
Grace attended the tournament?
Yes, she did.
Does that rule her out from committing the murder?
Well, yeah. We had to be at the dining hall by 9 a.m.-ish, which was like half an hour before the murder. Nobody left the tournament after it started either. Nobody I know of, anyway.
There weren't many of us there. Had someone
I'm just
disappeared,
pretty much sitting back and
it would
listening.
have been obvious.
So, Grace is off the hook? Wow. That plot thread resolved itself quicker than I was anticipating.
So Jean, Grace, and Kai attended Cassidy and Jet's game tournament.
And me.
And me.
And Mark.
Damon and I also attended the tournament.
Mm-hmm. That's 8 people.
We can also vouch for Grace.
You guys aren't lying, are you?
I don't see why we would lie or how we would lie about 8 people consecutively lying together for
seriously
this.
Doubting 8 testimonies?
If the 8 of you were really together when Wolfgang was discovered,
Didn't Grace show up kind of late?
then Kai, doesn't that contradict what you said before the investigation?
What did Kai say?
You told everyone you and Damon found Wolfgang first. How is that possible if
Oh.
you guys never left the dining hall?
Just gotta explain the situation. Easy, simple. Damon and me just found him like this.
I never said I didn't leave the dining hall.
But earlier you told us you were with the other attendees.
Oh my gosh, can we please explain what happened?
Partygoers left the dining hall together.
Thank you, Jet.
When the blackout struck, the tournament folk joined arms and headed straight downstairs. I would know. I saw him.
There
Wait,
was a blackout?
wait, hold on. Pause. Ingrid, how did you know? How did you see them? There was a blackout. Girl. You just cast suspicion on yourself by saying that. I don't know why I didn't put that together earlier. How could you have seen them if there was a blackout? That's suspicious.
You don't remember?
Actually, I don't recall a power outage either.
How could that be? Did an alternate timeline converge with ours?
Why is it some people can probably black out but others? Thinking back to the testimonies I've collected, I can probably make an educated guess. Blackout affected one building.
I got it. The reason not everyone experienced a blackout is because only the building containing our dorms was affected. If I had to guess, the courtyard and tree area are connected to separate power sources.
I'm gonna keep in mind what Ingrid just said about seeing us during the blackout.
So the tournament attendees were affected, yet they left the dining hall? Why not stay put until the power returned?
Because we were the ones who brought it back. It didn't seem like the power was being restored anytime soon, so we took up the challenge of fixing it ourselves. And just our luck, boom! We found a spare generator lying in one of the storage closets. Of course, then we found Wolfgang.
She's right.
Yeah.
The 8 of us split into 4 pairs and inspected a storage room each.
Because of the toaster trinket map, we know which ones, too. Eva and Grace check storage closet A. Jet and I check storage closet B. Damon and Kai check storage closet C. And Jean and Mark check storage closet D.
Yeah, I was with Grace. She can confirm being with me, too. Yeah, we were together.
Oh, I didn't realize. I'm so sorry.
No.
For what I
Don't
said
be sorry.
earlier.
Grace is being kind of a bitch.
Sorry? You're sorry for accusing me of murder.
I wouldn't say she accused you.
Sorry doesn't cut it, you conniving two-faced bitch! If you really want my mercy, then get on your knees and beg for it!
Whoa! Uncool, dude.
Yeah. Come on, Grace.
Hang on. Even if you aren't involved in Wolfgang's murder, you must know something about his last known whereabouts.
What makes you think she'd be privy to that?
You see, there's proof Grace spent last night with Wolfgang.
Grace and Lawyer Man? Talk about an unexpected
Yeah, their clothes were in the same
pairing.
room because they're paired together.
When I investigated Wolfgang's room, I saw a bunch of golfing equipment inside. Also, There was a blue woman's jacket tossed over the mantle of Wolfgang's bed.
I thought he said blue woman's jacket. I thought he meant the woman was blue and that's her jacket, not the woman's jacket is blue. I'm just like, what the what?
Ugh.
He's right. I also saw the equipment.
The clothes are understandable, maybe. But why was golfing equipment in the room?
Yo, little history dude. Wolfgang must have spilled the beans with you, right?
Why would Ulysses know anything?
Common courtesy. If you're gonna have a one-night stand, you gotta let your roomie know in advance.
Damn, he just went straight to it. I wasn't gonna say anything, but we were all thinking it.
Common courtesy also says you should watch your mouth around children.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I'm getting this right, Ulysses is bunking with Wolfgang?
Well, we only shared a dorm for one night.
You aren't bunking with him anymore?
Let me provide some context. As you may remember, after Desmond suggested everyone bunk together, the male students were directed to the dining hall. Once there, we played rock, paper, scissors to determine who would partner with who. Jet partnered with Mark, Desmond with Jean, Damon with Kai, and
Jean,
I
it
with
is
Wolfgang.
Jean. Whenever it's Jean, I have no idea if it's Jean or Jean.
Those were the pairings
Because it could be
at
either
the
way.
time. However, the following day, Grace and I agreed to swap rooms.
Yeah? Why'd you do that?
For reasons.
Totally not suspicious.
It was a win-win situation. I get Grace out of my hair. She gets me out of hers.
You two were originally bunking together?
The pairings were decided via a game of tic-tac-toe. I wasn't big on my partner being chosen for me. So when the opportunity arose to change that...
Honestly, I get that. I wouldn't
took
want to be
it.
paired with Grace either.
Thus, I became Winona's roommate, and Grace became Wolfgang's.
Can confirm. I watched the whole thing play out.
Since the room swap happened the night after we implemented the bunk buddy system, that would mean Grace and Wolfgang have been bunking for about a day and a half. Ugh, gross.
What?
In that case, Desmond was right about those two being together last night.
Why was that
Grace,
gross?
Did Wolfgang act strange at it? Like, maybe he said something that stuck out to you, or maybe had trouble getting to sleep.
No. Nothing weird happened last night. Nothing happened last night, but...
What?
The morning of the murder, this morning, Wolfgang told me he felt sick.
Sick?
With a stomachache.
Hmm.
It hurt so bad he couldn't get out of bed.
He was obviously
I
lying.
was gonna cancel my plans for today, but he convinced me to attend the tournament. So, I left his room right after the morning announcement. And yes, I'm talking about the game tournament. The same one Wolfgang acted all hesitant about attending. Newsflash, I changed his mind after breakfast yesterday.
Hold on a sec. That ain't what you told me this morning.
What did Grace tell you?
What did Grace tell us?
Simply put, she felt like competing. Grace knew I planned to compete as well, so she asked me to be her sparring partner, since you needed one to enter the tournament.
She withheld information.
Aye, that she did. Of course, since I now know Wolfgang's condition at the time, I can't say I blame her. If someone you cared for was in a vulnerable position, would you go around and admit that in a killing game?
Okay, yeah. John did some critical thinking. That makes sense.
No. You would try to protect that person by saying nothing at all.
When you put it that way. Man, sounds rough.
That's rough, buddy.
I think it's obtuse.
Huh?
Say we assume the best of Grace. She withheld information not to trick anyone, but to protect someone she cares about. What then should we make up the glaring contradiction in her testimony?
The hell do you mean, contradiction?
If your bunking partner was too ill to make the short trek to the dining hall, how did he walk all the way to the boiler room?
Good points.
That's not her
If
contradiction.
Wolfgang really were
That's
bedridden,
Wolfgang's.
He would have stayed in his room.
Now that you mention it, to reach the underground floor, wouldn't Wolfgang need to descend, like, 4 flights of stairs? It's nothing for a healthy person, but for a guy who's supposedly really sick...
It's not my fault it doesn't make sense. It's That's just what Wolfgang told me.
Yeah. Didn't we decide Grace wasn't the killer anyway?
That's not to say she doesn't know more than she's letting on.
I'm not withholding anything else.
Whoops. Is there more to the story than Grace is telling us? When am I actually gonna play the game? I'm waiting for a debate. Too many people are letting their emotions cloud their judgments. I need to solve this mystery and set things straight. Actually, I like how pretty much, well, most, if not every person is actually participating in the debate, because a lot of the time in the original game, it's really just like you and like 2 or 3 other characters are really pushing the debate forward and like actually like pointing out each other's contradictions. Game Tournament Thailand, Blood Spots, Toshiko's Fetch Quest. I think Toshiko's Fetch Quest.
Why don't you tell everyone the truth, Grace?
Wait. Change bullet, fire bullet. Show truth bullet menu, spacebar, focused. Okay.
I've got nothing else to explain. The last I saw Wolfgang, he was in our dorm room.
Okay.
Okay, hear me out. Secret hallways.
No.
We would have found those by now.
Maybe Wolfgang was carried by the killer.
That,
no.
or Wolfgang never told Grace he was sick.
Oh wait,
I
no.
wouldn't lie about what he said.
What if Wolfgang used the elevator in the tree?
No.
Helping.
There's a major discrepancy in Grace's testimony, but is she necessarily at the fault for that?
Why don't you tell everyone the truth, Grace?
I've got nothing else to explain. The last I saw Wolfgang, he was in our dorm room.
That's true.
Okay, hear me out. Secret hallways.
I'm not agreeing with that. That's definitely not
We
it.
would have found those by now.
Maybe Wolfgang was carried by the killer.
I mean, no,
Or
wait.
Wolfgang never told Grace he was sick.
Okay, no, I think it's Toshiko's Fetch Quest against Diana's thing. Okay.
Why don't
tell everyone the truth, Grace?
The last
I saw Wolfgang, he was in our dorm room. Okay? Secret hallways.
Yeah, right.
We would have found those
by now.
Maybe Wolfgang was carried by the killer.
Yes.
No, that's wrong!
It's true Grace's testimony is inconsistent with where we found Wolfgang's body. But that's not Grace's fault. The only person we should be blaming is Wolfgang himself.
What the heck? Why are you blaming him?
Simple. Because he lied about being sick.
Seriously?
You can cooperate. Can't you, Toshiko? During the investigation, you told me you saw Wolfgang in the hallways at 8:10 a.m.
That's after I left.
Yes. I remember now. Ingrid. She had developed a headache, so I went to the pharmacy to find some medication. The trip itself went fine, but when I returned to the hallway, I found myself face to face
with Wolfgang?
Hold the phone! Toshiko actually saw Wolfgang?
Yep, that she did.
We had a normal, pleasant exchange. He appeared perfectly healthy and even mentioned going to the tournament. Of course, he never made it.
I don't want to be that guy, but can anyone confirm this?
I heard them chatting a while in my room. Though I was bedridden like a sitting goose, I could still make out their voices here and there.
Strange.
Okay.
He told Grace he wouldn't attend the tournament, but then said the opposite to Toshiko.
Sounds like he was telling fibs to conceal his actual intentions.
And what's his true plan supposed to be?
To go to the boiler room. Most likely.
I'm lost. What business would a guy like him have down there?
Aha! Let me present to you. Secret note. It was, Enter? Yes.
This is it.
During the investigation, I found this note tucked away inside Wolfgang's blazer pocket. A lot of it is water damaged. The paper looks like it was ripped from a notebook, and the handwriting was done in ink, but some parts are still legible.
Secret, 8:15 a.m., boiler room, close the door.
This mentions the boiler room.
That's odd. That's suspiciously specific that those 4 bits of information were kept preserved. I'm pretty sure that's just a plot convenience thing.
Exactly.
But, like, that's awfully
The fact we
convenient.
found Wolfgang in the boiler room, and this note in his pocket. It can't be a coincidence. This note must be the reason Wolfgang went there.
That mention of a secret sure is suspicious. I'm willing to bet Wolfie's reason had something to do with it.
Agreeing to meet a stranger in some spooky, dark place? Wolfgang had nerves of steel.
Ulysses, Grace, do you remember Wolfgang getting delivered a weird note?
No. The only time I recall him receiving anything was when Tozu distributed those envelopes.
I don't know anything about a note.
Really? Wolfgang shared nothing with you guys?
I mean, I assume he wouldn't and mention secret. I
Guess he
bet
didn't
he
want them
had
to know
secrets
what
to
it
hide
said.
if he was so, like, casually lying about everything.
Right. And if Wolfgang wanted to keep this note a secret, he would obviously want to keep the meeting a secret too.
Mm-hmm.
Then the reason he told Grace he felt sick
Was to remove her from the picture. Yeah. Once she's not in the room, Wolfgang has his opportunity to sneak out and head downstairs. That's also why he encouraged her to attend the tournament.
Didn't the same guy ask us to share our blackmail with each other? Talk about double standards.
Literally! He made me and Eva out to be the villains and then turn around and does his own shady shit.
Are we sure he wasn't just trying to protect Grace? Maybe he knew he was meeting someone dangerous, so he thought it would be safer not to involve her.
That does sound like something Wolfgang would do.
Not to interrupt, but on the subject of blackmail, did Wolfgang ever confront the person he had?
Oh? You don't know whose blackmail he got?
Well, if you recall what Wolfgang said originally.
For that reason, I implore all of you to speak with the person whose blackmail you have, and them only. Even if the content of the envelope would seem horrible, give the person a chance to explain themselves.
Regardless of the blackmail's contents, it would be treated as a matter between the recipient and the subject of the blackmail, and no one else. Which makes me wonder, could whether or not Wolfgang confronted his person clue us into what had originally been written on that note?
I'm not picking up what you're putting down.
Complete tangent on not what we're talking about. Where is it? I just remembered, what I previously discovered. Ulysses doesn't have a sense of smell, so in light of that, or whatever, he makes a document for that people describe the smell and has a just has on him his book of smells of people that described and is able to be like, oh, this smells like this, and that. Therefore, the smell you're smelling is this. And the thing is, there was a suspicious smell that smells like a combination of cereal and alcohol. So based on that, we can refer to his notes and discover what was actually in that room. Ah, big brain! Of course it was plot relevant.
If that person somehow realized Wolfgang carried their blackmail, but never came forward about it, they could have demanded Wolfgang show it to them, hence the mention of a secret. However, if Wolfgang did confront his person, I don't see why that same person would then send him a threatening note. Not least act coy about information they both know.
If the person being blackmailed wasn't the one who wrote the note, who was?
Obviously, it would be the student with Wolfgang's blackmail.
Oh, I knew that.
Yes, the secret in question may actually be a reference to Wolfgang's blackmail, not the...
Is there any way to figure out whose secret it is?
We'd probably need to know whose blackmail Wolfgang had first.
Oh, I've got just the idea. Yo! Person who Wolfgang had blackmail on! If he gave you your blackmail back, can you say something?
Don't forget the person with Wolfgang's blackmail.
That's me.
Oh, right. Hey! Person who's got Wolfgang's blackmail!
I love her.
If you're innocent, say something already!
If I'm innocent, I should say something. Would telling everyone I have Wolfgang's blackmail really guarantee my innocence in their eyes? No. They all hate you. I don't know. Although, everyone may follow my direction at a trial since they can't ignore the evidence on my side. When it comes to me, of all people owning Wolfgang's blackmail, how do I know they won't suddenly change their tune? They might chastise me for not revealing his blackmail sooner, or maybe they'll think I'm confessing and accusing me of his murder. Well, I think Kai is about to expose you anyway. Or Kai is gonna be a bro and says, hey, I have his blackmail. It's not like I won't be able to reunite their arguments, but do I really want to subject myself to all of that? Does the trajectory of this trial really depend on whether or not I...
I was hesitant to admit it, since I knew it would put me on the
Jean?
spot. But I'd rather be suspected than be the reason this trial comes to a standstill.
Are you confessing? Do you have Wolfgang's blackmail?
Nah, not his.
Seriously? Way to be anticlimactic.
However, it's thanks to him that I have my own.
Your own?
Wolfgang approached me the same day everyone received an envelope. Funnily enough, it happened right after I'd finished speaking with my own person. He and we had a good talk. He gave me his envelope and asked me to take care of it. If you need the proof.
Ah, Wolfgang's envelope had the same signature.
Aye. I held on to the letter for safekeeping. This should have all been said sooner. I realized that. I suppose my pride was stronger than my rectitude. My mistake for stringing everyone along.
I mean, at least you're honest.
Truth! Thanks for letting us know, bud.
Man, I just like every character.
Indeed. To acknowledge one's own misdoings is a most virtuous feat, I believe.
Right. It's very noble.
Okay, we get it. Chop chop. If I revealed my blackmail right now, would everyone here treat me the same? Would they be just as forgiving?
I take it our other blackmail person isn't gonna step forward?
If nothing happens, let's just have everyone recite whose blackmail they got one by one.
Huh? You sure that's a good idea?
No one's reciting shit.
It was only a suggestion. Calm your farm.
I swear Kai's just gonna be like, I know who has his mail. It's Damon. Or Kai's gonna be just like, actually, I have it.
Even if we knew who had Wolfgang's blackmail, that doesn't necessarily mean they're his killer. It's annoying they won't speak up, sure. But unlike John...
Kai's looking at Damon around just like, the fuck are you talking about? We both know you have his blackmail,
This person might just want to
dumbass.
respect Wolfgang's request to keep
Shit
the
ass.
blackmail between two people. Especially now that he's gone.
I don't know. Is it really okay if we never find out?
Circumstantial evidence alone can't prove something beyond a reasonable doubt. If we want to solve this case, we need indisputable evidence.
Yeah. It's like doing a jigsaw puzzle without the box art to help you.
The cases, or...
Obviously, the case. The more pieces you connect, the clearer the image you're constructing becomes. The clearer the image, the more you can assume about it. Do you see what I'm saying? Once we know how Wolfgang died, the rest of this case should fall into place.
I agree.
You certainly talk a lot stranger than you used to. But I think I get it.
Well, I don't want to be the one to start, but we can all agree Wolfgang was stabbed to death, right?
No! No, Jet.
When I was in the boiler room, I saw a knife bobbing around in the water near him. And on the ground, there was blood. Dried blood. On the boiler room floor and on the hallway floor.
That's gotta be Wolfgang's blood, right?
The knife was bloody, so...
Huh. Seems like a brawl happened in the hallway. While poor Wolfie was minding his own business, he was confronted by the killer, who attacked him and chased him into the boiler room.
No, that's not what happened at all.
That would line up with how we found him.
No, it doesn't. The killer stabbed Wolfgang in the hallway, then followed him into the boiler room? No, that's not what happened. I need to show everyone where they've gone wrong. Non-stop debate. Alright. Let's get to it.
Is this really how you guys think Wolfgang died?
The bloody knife is way too big of a coincidence. It was floating in the water right next to him.
I'll go with Wolfgang's hands.
Not just that. There's blood on the boiler room floor.
But there's no blood from where he was
along
found.
The underground hallway.
A confrontation must have happened in those hallways.
Possibly.
Yeah, it was probably a sneak attack. The killer snuck up on Wolfgang, Stabbed him from behind.
That's probably it, but I'll
the rest
keep
is
looking.
history.
With that knife-wielding villain on his tail, Wolfgang had no other place to run but the boiler room.
So, the killer entered the boiler room after him, which was when they, ended it.
It all makes sense.
Is this really how you guys think Wolfgang died?
The bloody knife is way too big of a coincidence. It was floating in the water right next to him. Not just that. There's blood on the boiler room floor.
And along the underground hallway.
A confrontation.
Nah, it was probably a sneak. The killer snuck up on Wolfgang, stabbed him behind.
What? Wait, what did I have?
Is
Wait,
this
did I have the
really
wrong
how
one?
You guys think
I
Wolfgang
thought I had
died?
Oh, did I not have
The bloody
Wolfgang's
knife
hands?
is way too big of a coincidence.
It was
Oops.
floating in the water right next to him. Not just that. There's blood on the boiler room floor. And along the
underground hallway.
A confrontation must have
Nah,
it was probably a sneak attack. The killer snuck up on Wolfgang, stabbed him from
behind.
Okay, no, that's not it.
That does not.
Well,
is this really how you guys think
Tozu
Wolfgang
Tablet
died?
2, blood spots.
The bloody knife is way too big of a coincidence. It was floating in the water.
Oh,
right
it's
next
still
to him.
going? Blood spots, drops of blood shown on the boiler room. They're also scattered outside the hallway. That does not really dispute that. Storage closets? Wolfgang's hands?
Not
Tozu
just
Tablet
that.
2?
There's blood on the boiler room floor.
That's true.
And along the underground hallway.
That's also true.
A confrontation must have happened in those hallways.
Nah, it was probably a sneak attack. The killer snuck up on Wolfgang, stabbed
I
him from
don't
behind,
really know about this one.
and the rest is history.
With that knife-wielding villain on his tail, Wolfgang had no other place to run but the boiler room.
I don't think
So,
that's it either.
The killer entered the boiler room after him,
which was when they, ended it.
They're trying to spin here. It's definitely not the truth. You can conclude that's much from the crime scene. Okay.
Is this really how you guys think Wolfgang
Storage
died?
closet. Maybe
The bloody knife is way too big of a
confrontation?
coincidence. It was floating in the water right next to him.
Not just that.
There's blood
On the boiler room
floor.
and along
The underground hallway.
A confrontation must have happened in those hallways.
Damn it.
Is this really
Okay,
how you
storage
guys
closet,
think Wolfgang
Wolfgang's
died?
hands.
The
Tozu
bloody knife is
tablet.
way too big of a coincidence.
Why the room on the floor ceiling in the water is concrete? Maybe the Tozu tablet, because it shows he was. It wouldn't show that. Tozu tablet on.
It was floating in
Bran?
the water right next to him.
not just that.
There's blood on the boiler room floor. And along the underground hallway. A confrontation must have happened in those hallways. Nah, it was probably a sneak attack. The killer snuck up on Wolfgang, stabbed him from behind. And the rest is history. With that knife-wielding villain on his tail, Wolfgang had no other place to run but the boiler room.
Him.
I
think
not.
Is this really how you guys think Wolfgang died?
The bloody knife is way too big of a coincidence.
Oh, I had time? Damn. I didn't realize I was timed. Okay. I mean, I'm sure I was. I just never looked at it. Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Is this really how you guys think Wolfgang died?
Oh, I only
The
have
bloody
4
knife
minutes
is
to do
way
it.
too
Okay.
big of a coincidence.
It was floating in the water right next to him. Not just that. There's blood on the boiler room floor. And along the underground hallway.
I'm pretty confident it's the staff from behind that's the incorrect one.
Stabbed him from behind.
Is this really how you guys think?
Storage closets?
The bloody knife is way too big of a coincidence. It was floating in the water right next
Because,
to him.
like, I don't see how any of these disprove he was stabbed from behind, but we know he wasn't because there was no stab wounds on him.
A confrontation must have happened in those hallways. Nah, it was probably a sneak attack. The killer snuck up on Wolfgang, stabbed him from behind.
Damn. I think I'm just gonna keep going until I get it right.
If you snuck up on Wolfgang, stab him from behind.
Okay.
No, that's wrong.
How does that contradict?
Jed, you talk a lot about the knife and the bloodstains on the floor, but did you ever look at Wolfgang himself?
I gave him a glance. Nothing too deep.
I figured. Had you actually taken the time to look at Wolfgang's back, you would have noticed a clear absence of stab wounds.
How was that
In fact,
okay.
None of the injuries he sustained were the type to cause severe blood loss. Seriously. We went over the same thing with Cassidy during the mock trial. Couldn't you give Wolfgang the dignity of a proper investigation?
Wow,
Hey,
shade.
man, it's not like I didn't try. It's just... this stuff doesn't come easy, you know? Nobody wakes up thinking they'll have to solve their buddy's murder later.
Isn't that exactly what you should be worrying about in a killing game?
Not everyone has the stomach for investigating. That's fine. That's why you got people like me to do the heavy
But
lifting.
imagine no one could do the heavy
Since
lifting.
some of us here weren't able to investigate Wolfgang's body, I'll lay out his injuries. There were 2 marks on the back of his neck, a bruise, and a tiny red dot. His hands were burnt too, so 3 injuries in total. Besides that, I caught nothing else.
Burns, you say?
Junior high, my dear Wilson. The killer used a flamethrower.
No.
These didn't look
Love
like
it, but
normal
no.
burns. Not the sort you'd get from a stove fire, or a hot iron, or a flamethrower, I suppose.
Contradicting my theory outright? Jeez. So this is the thanks I get for vocalizing my thoughts?
Sorry, lass.
Yes, if I may add on to what John said, the burns actually bore a strong resemblance to what you might see in cases of corona paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
Chiaro...
Corona paralysis. Duh, Grace.
Ooh, now this I know. Coronoparalysis. It's something which happens to lightning strike victims.
Yeah. Only reason why I know that is because I have a D&D character that was struck by lightning and I wanted to accurately represent lightning wound marks on their body. So I had to look up what it looks like in the method of it.
Getting struck by lightning is like getting kicked by a horse. The impact is so shocking. Some people will lose all feeling in their limbs for a few hours.
I was aware of lightning paralysis, but even I didn't know its official name. That's a nice head you've got on your shoulders.
Lots of people tend to overlook the importance of lightning safety, especially where I'm from.
Where are you from where lightning safety is a concern?
My grandpappy once tried working out in the open during a thunderstorm. Pure luck's the only reason he lived to see the next day.
Sorry to hear that and all, but what does lightning have to do with anything?
Well, if I had to guess, Ulysses, did it look like a big old tree was drawn on Wolfie?
A big old tree. Yes, that's how I would describe the burns on Wolfgang.
Mm-hmm.
So Wolfgang had lightning strike scars?
That's what I've been saying! Those are lightning marks!
We're trapped inside a building, though. Lightning can't come from anywhere.
Could he not have been struck before the killing game?
Doubt
Fate
it.
is stronger than will, you know. Perhaps a deity decreed the glow of his altruism from their heavenly abode and felt him a threat.
Nay, those burns were fresh. One look was all it took for me to know that. If he had these scars before, we would have noticed them anyway.
But if those marks were recently inflicted, wouldn't it mean Wolfgang somehow went outside?
No.
Not necessarily. This is only something I thought of just now, but the reason Wolfgang sustained burns similar to that of lightning strike victims may be because whatever inflicted his burns was equivalent in damage to a lightning strike.
You saying there's something out here channeling the power of lightning?
Oh yeah, that would definitely have killed him. Something equivalent in damage to a lightning strike? The idea sounded ridiculous, but when I think back on the boiler room and what was inside it, right, if I take that object into consideration, Ulysses' theory starts to hold some weight. It could be the generator. Generator?
This is it.
Ulysses, since you write everything down, do you have a description of the boiler room in your notebook?
Yes, I do. Why?
Since some people here never investigated the crime scene, they probably aren't as familiar with the room as we are. So, you should read out your description of it.
Sure. The boiler room consists of a small concrete platform surrounded by ankle-deep water. Throughout the room are boxes filled with various garbage, and in the back looks to be a generator, charred beyond belief. What you just heard is a brief summary of my notes.
Hear that? There's a generator inside the boiler room.
I swear I figured this out the second we found the crime scene.
Of all the things which could deal similar damage to a lightning strike, doesn't a generator sound the most likely?
Didn't Ulysses say it was destroyed?
At the time of the investigation, sure. But it wasn't always destroyed. You probably don't remember. But back when we found the dummy, I mentioned something about the underground floor.
Dining hall people, you were in this building before. Tell us what's going on. Yeah, why didn't you mention this other girl? The hell, I never even saw her. Huh? You were there too, bargain bin. Don't even... There's a floor below us. That's where I woke up.
To be more specific, it was the boiler room I woke up inside. I hadn't been alone either. Ava was also there.
I woke up first.
Yeah. She did. Anyway, Ava, you agree the generator was in full working condition when we woke up, right?
Right.
So in the time since you woke up there, the generator was destroyed?
It's the only possibility. As for what destroyed the generator, well, it's hard to say for sure. My best guess would probably be...
Don't waste my time.
Ooh, interjection.
2 things. First, destroyed is overly vague.
You were there, Winona.
Ulysses explained the state of the generator much better. Charred beyond belief. Second, and more importantly, where's your proof the generator inflicted those burns?
What are you talking about? The generator must be involved. It's near where Wolfgang is lying.
Being within range of something counts as proof now, does it? Do you also consider happenstance as conclusive evidence?
Do you have any evidence that it's not involved?
Funny how the standards shift, if so.
That...
Damn it, she's trying to make me look like an idiot. If I let this continue, the others might start to doubt me. I need to stop her before she veers her trial off track. Oh dear. Cycle, swipe, slow down, fast forward. Okay. Cycle, fire blades. Okay, yeah, I got that. Some students sometimes will dislike your argument so much that they will initiate a one-on-one debate with you. We call this rebuttal showdown. During rebuttal showdown, your opponent will fling a flurry of remarks at you, and it is your job to counter them. Use the WASD key to slice through your opponent's argument naturally, and you will slash in the direction of the button pressed. To slice diagonally, simply press 2 keys at the same time. Be sure to pay close attention to the shape, size, and position of your opponent's remarks. I did not mean to auto that. Every time you strike with the white text, the green side of the screen will shift to left for it to represent the argument succeeded. Likewise, every time you miss white text, the original orange side of the screen will shift right to show that your opponent is winning. I read that as whining. If you cut through enough remarks, you would advance to the next stage. If you haven't, you will retreat. If you're somewhere in the middle, you and your opponent will wrestle for control in a short round of crosswords. In order to gain the upper hand, you must rapidly left-click. Now to the meat of the duel, the truth blade. Similar to Nonsense debates, any suspected contradictions will be highlighted in gold. Hold down right-click to slice them apart with the truth blade. Of course, don't start slicing the second you see gold. Access the validity of the remark and check to see if you correct truth blade equipped. Now let's not keep Winona waiting any longer. To battle. Let's do this, Winona. Can I see my truth bullets first? Blackout.
While the generator may look suspicious,
wait.
Consider the time frame we're working with. If the only time you saw the generator in full working condition was on the day of our kidnapping, that gives us a period of almost 4 days in which the generator might have been destroyed.
Oh. Okay.
While the generator may look suspicious, Consider the time frame we're working with. If the only time you saw the generator in full working condition was on the day of our kidnapping, that gives us a period of almost 4 days. Do I really need to lay the day 1, we worked day 3, our black, and day 5, today, in the period between days 2 and 5? While the generator may look suspicious, consider the time frame we're working with. If the only time you saw the generator in full working condition was on the day of our kidnapping, that gives us a period of almost 4 days.
What?
Do I really need... Day 1, we were kidnapped. Day 3, our blackmail was distributed. And day 5, in the period between days 2 and 5?
I am definitely approaching this
While
wrong.
the generator may look suspicious, consider the time frame we're working with. If the only time you saw the generator in full working condition was on the day of our kidnapping, that gives us a period of almost 4 days, in which the generator might have been destroyed.
Okay, advanced. Okay, cool.
What about the blackout? It's impossible for the generator to cause the blackout if it was already broken prior to the tournament.
What about the blackout? The building may very well have lost its power at any point before or after the murder. You only assume it happened during. Not the smartest argument from a supposed ultimate debater.
Okay. Wait, which one is it? Come on, come on, come on. Yes. The blackout definitely connected with Wolfgang's death is a certain piece of evidence. Yes, I got
What
this.
about the blackout? The building may very well have lost its power at any point before or after the murder. You only assume it happened during it. Not the smartest argument from a supposed ultimate debater.
Okay.
What about the blackout?
I thought there was another one.
The building may very well have lost its power at any point before or after.
I'll cut through
There we
those
go.
words.
When the blackout happened, it froze a piece of equipment which had been set up for the game tournament, Mark's DJ pad. While there was no physical clock inside the dining hall, a digital one has been built into Mark's pad. If you look at what time the digital clock is frozen on, it matches the time of death listed on the tablet, 9:35 a.m.
Well, Mark, is this true?
There's no point in me saying anything when someone else has already said it better.
Just answer with a yes or no, will you?
Actually, yeah, please confirm.
Yes.
In any case, the matching times are too much of a coincidence. The destruction of the generator caused the blackout, and the blackout occurred at the time of the murder. There's no way the destruction of the generator wasn't tied to Wolfgang's death.
What do you suppose happened then?
I'm willing to bet the generator's destruction resulted in the boiler room's water becoming electrified. Since Wolfgang was discovered kneeling in the water, we can reason he was standing in it at the time this happened and...
Damon, you and I both know that's not true.
Huh?
Did you forget? It's impossible for the water in the boiler room to play a role in Wolfgang's
If it was
murder.
conductive at the time, yes, doesn't mean it's conductive now.
Because it isn't even conductive.
It's not?
After Damon and I woke
Well, there was
up
no
in the
power
boiler
source
room,
running through it at the
I wanted
time,
to
but if someone
investigate the
shot
flooded
the
area.
taser at him, that would put a power source through it.
So I tested the water.
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Eva approach a pile of boxes and fish out a light bulb. Then, without hesitation, plop, she chucked it into the water.
I even redid my test during the investigation, since Damon wasn't sure if he should touch Wolfgang's wet clothes. In both instances, I proved the water was safe to enter. To be honest, neither result really surprised me. Water will only act as a conductor if it makes contact with two separate energy sources.
That's the kicker, Eva. There was only one energy source. There wasn't two.
The boiler room's generator is just one
But there was
source.
two at the time of death.
If you're standing in the water, one outlet should be enough. Speaking from experience, large bodies of water are terrifying conductors during storms. All it takes is one lightning bolt, and the surrounding miles are scorched.
But the generator is a slow, persistent source of electricity. It's not the same as a lightning strike.
Electricity is electricity. Doesn't matter how it manifests. The reason you two avoided electrocution is because the generator's exposed wires aren't even touching the water. If they were, you would have been scorched right from the start.
Maybe when the generator was destroyed, some of the wiring fell into the water?
Nah. Even in its current sorry state, the generator's wires are nowhere near the water.
What about
It
the
doesn't make
outlet?
sense for the generator to pose a danger anyway. The point of the killing game is for the students to kill each other, not for the facility to kill the students. A feature of the building killing a student would be a meaningless death because you can't attribute a student killer to it.
As for why the generator's been charred, sometimes electrical faults happen. Even my ship's engines have broken under particularly relentless storms. And if an electrical fault caused Wolfgang's death, then his murder is purely on the hosts, ain't it?
Of course! If we were responsible for his death, you lot wouldn't be here discussing it.
Is generator really unrelated to the case? But the timing of the blackout, it's too perfect. It can't be a coincidence.
Okay, since we've ruled out the generator, what else could have electrocuted Wolfgang?
I have a thought. I'm thinking the thought. I'm processing the thought. Thought being... Killer timed blackout, pushed him into water with exposed wire, and he wasn't dead at the time. He was crawling back out because he was pushed into the water. And as he was crawling out, that's when they used a taser. I'm trying to think if that would work. That would mean the killer would need to be able to set up the blackout, just so Wolfgang doesn't know who the person is. Or at least is more oblivious to the situation. Weird.
It mightn't be relevant, but I did see one other thing on the boiler room floor. A toy gun or something.
Toy?
At least, that's how it came across to me.
Not a toy gun, a taser gun.
A taser?
Certainly not a toy.
I'll shoot electricity!
I'm not sure how the taser fits in with this case, though. It doesn't seem to have been used.
Nope. The taser was definitely used.
How so? I didn't catch any sort of string protruding from it.
Not all taser guns release a string when fired. Some are completely wireless. For those types, you can tell they've been used if their blast doors are missing. Side note, blast doors are plastic panels which cover the muzzle of a taser. If a shot is fired, they pop clean off. When I was investigating the crime scene, I found the taser gun in one spot and its blast doors in another. Speaks for itself.
And that would also explain the red mark on the side of Wolfgang's neck. But don't usually 2 wires come out and not just one?
And here I was thinking the yellow bits were just random trash.
Where the heck did a taser gun even come from? Last time I checked, there weren't any lying around in the storage closets.
Maybe it belongs to someone here.
Huh?
Just think about it for 1 second. Everyone here has a dorm room which is themed around their talent. Mine's got DJ equipment. Jet's got car batteries. If that's what we have with our talents, what could someone with a dangerous talent have?
Are you talking about, like, knives and stuff?
Well, the knife came from the kitchen, but it is a good question as to where the taser came from.
What? Is there something on my face?
Forget this. The person I'm talking about is Desmond.
Huh? No way! You think the gun is Desmond's?
Yeah, it totally could have come from his. It might also have come from Jet's. Just, you know, like, he already has car batteries. Maybe he already has a taser since he already has electrical equipment.
You've got it all mixed up.
Jean, do you know anything about this? As Desmond's roommate, perhaps you spotted something inside his dorm.
Alas, we stayed in my abode. I couldn't tell you if he had weapons.
Talk about suspicious.
Did Desmond agree to bunk in Jean's dorm so Jean wouldn't see the weapons in his?
Listen, I get where you guys are coming from, but that taser gun, it's not mine. I've never seen anything like it.
No, that's a lie.
A lie?
His attempt to feign innocence won't fool me, not when I know the truth. Fuck, even I don't know this. What is it? His talent, his... blackmail?
I got it. The blackmail tools you gave us. That's my evidence.
You didn't get mine, did you?
No. But the person who did informed me of what it said.
With his weapons at hand, Desmond guards the only one he trusts.
The writing style seems to match. I think it's legit.
That's more than a little suspicious, don't you think? Leaving a bunch of weapons unguarded during a killing game?
Don't judge me. This is the first time I'm hearing of it too.
You didn't know there were weapons in your room?
Yep, no idea.
Our rooms aren't particularly subtle in their theming. Are we supposed to believe yours is any different?
It is themed. I'm not denying that. But I sure as hell didn't catch sight of any weapons.
I think it's him.
If I did, do you seriously think I'd leave them unguarded and risk being found out?
Yeah. Desmond cares too much about everyone. He pointed out the broken doorknobs and gave us the idea to bunk together. Why would he hide weapons in his room?
Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent, and found the taser gun hidden inside. There's no other way to explain it.
So while Desmond gets a
Could be
bunch of weapons,
John.
all I get is an old game console and a dead controller.
I mean, John was bunking with Desmond, meaning that John would know that Desmond's room is vacant at the time. So maybe during the night when they're sleeping, he goes into Desmond's room and finds a taser gun. Maybe? It's an idea.
Take the bad with the good, dearest.
Also,
people.
Cassie's hand was
No
sticking
one
through the
fears
pillar.
Game consoles. Well, no one besides parents and the religiously inclined.
Enough talking about consoles. Why are you guys believing Desmond so easily? If the taser gun belongs to him, then he's the killer. Any argument he makes against it is just a flimsy excuse.
Okay. We thought you were the killer because it wasn't your lie, but your testimony had discrepancies. I don't think it was Desmond. I don't know, I actually kind of am leaning towards John now.
Desmond is the killer. The taser gun came from his room.
I had no idea the gun even existed. I was barely in my dorm to begin with.
Because you wanted to draw attention away from your weapons hoard.
But if this is about avoiding suspicion, why did Desmond say the taser gun was fired? I don't think a killer would draw attention to their own murder weapon.
I was with Desmond.
I call it reverse psychology. You sprinkle in a little helpfulness, and suddenly everyone trusts you.
When the murder happened.
Wow, we're really just ignoring Eloise. This Desmond's innocent when I compare the evidence to everyone's statements. But which Grace's testimony? Wait, what's Grace's testimony? What else was there? So, taser gun. Gun found at the scene of the crime. Blackout. Toshiko's fetch quests.
I was barely in my dorm to begin with.
Let me see Toshiko's fetch quest. The doors fetch Grace, one of my facts with counter Wolfgang and Hallway. No. I don't see how any of these prove that it wasn't him.
Draw attention away from your weapons hoard.
But if this is about avoiding suspicion, why did Desmond say the taser gun was fired? I don't think a killer would draw attention to their own murder weapon.
I was with Desmond.
I call it
Maybe
reverse psychology.
Okay. It probably is blackout. Blackout. Oh wait, no, it'll be up here. I forget this is in order of same thing with Eloise spent her morning with Courtyard and Desmond. Grace, you need to chill the fuck out.
Desmond is the killer.
I had no idea the gun even existed. I was barely in my dorm to begin with.
Because you
wanted to draw attention away from your weapons hoard.
She's literally saying, hey, he has an alibi.
If this is about avoiding suspicion,
Say the taser gun was fired. I don't think the killer would draw attention to their own murder weapon.
Thank you.
Regardless of whether or not Desmond knew about the gun, he definitely wasn't involved in the murder. Eloise can back me up on this.
Right. Desmond and I, we were together in the courtyard at the, at the time of Wolfgang's death.
Yeah, if you'd have just listened to her instead of just spewing your own bullshit,
I
Grace.
see. Then both of you can be ruled out as suspects.
Don't just take her word for it. She could be covering for Desmond.
Why would she do that?
Please, if you have a bone to pick with these guys, at least save it for when we're not solving a murder.
Yeah. Why don't you want to believe Eloise?
Ever since the investigation, these two yuppies have been on my case non-stop. They're obviously working
Maybe it's
together.
because you're being a little bit of a bitch. Just a
Not
thought.
gonna lie, I see where Grace is coming from. When Eloise tried to single her out earlier, Desmond was pretty quick to jump in and agree.
Even so, since the topic has been brought up, I would like to mention something. During my trip to the pharmacy, I believe I saw Desmond and Eloise in the courtyard together.
You also said you were back in the hallways around 8-10 a.m., didn't you? That means those two were wandering around unsupervised. Either one of them could have left the courtyard.
If Desmond was the killer, what would Eloise gain from defending him? Should the wrong vote be cast? Nothing about the rules suggests an accomplice of the killer would be exempt from execution.
That's right. And even if she was exempt, Eloise is too nice to be an accomplice to murder.
Exactly. Back off, Grace.
Grace, I realize Desmond's irked you, but that's no reason to keep steering everyone down a dead end. Let's move on.
Interesting framing. Okay.
Person who's always steering others down a dead end, huh? I guess they needed a GPS.
What does that mean?
Anyway, we should totally thank Desmond for clearing things up now. Not only do we know he's not the killer, now we know how the killer got their hands on the taser.
Now we know how... What?
Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent, and found the taser gun hidden inside.
Yup, that is word for word what Desmond said.
Right. Good memory.
Good memory, actually. That's not what you said. I love how the voice actor's definitely improvising some of these lines. I like that.
Can you repeat that quote, Cassidy?
Again? But I just said it.
Yeah, but I want you to say it again.
Alright, someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent and found the taser gun hidden inside.
Is there something on your mind?
If Desmond's testimony is anything to go by, then... wouldn't this mean the culprit has to be male?
What?
What?
If I remember correctly, all the guys were aware of each other's pairings. With that sort of knowledge, a male student could try and infiltrate another male student's dorm.
None of us knew which room we'd be bunking in.
It only takes a quick peek to check if someone's inside or not. Anyone could have done that.
And who's to say the thief didn't barge in before we started bunking?
Or while people were having breakfast.
Seems there was a mountain of opportunities for our culprit to sneak in unnoticed. Doesn't exactly help us narrow things down, does it?
Well, guess this taser gun was a bust.
Look on the bright side. If it's been fired, then it's probably what electrocuted Wolfie. If trying to suss out who stole it isn't feasible, why don't we... You know, the ones that weren't burn marks? Those seem like they could lead us somewhere.
Yeah. Besides the burns on his hands, Wolfgang also had a bruise and a tiny red dot on the back of his neck.
A bruise and a tiny dot, huh? Wanna try tackling them in alphabetical order?
Alphabetical order? Now, aren't you full of smart ideas?
Okay.
No need to thank me. It's only common sense.
Sure, I guess.
Let's discuss the bruise first.
Non-stop debate.
I think it's safe to say the killer didn't use a flamethrower.
Maybe Wolfgang got into a fight? Someone might have
Perhaps.
attacked him.
I agree with that.
And aimed for his neck.
Yeah.
If you can even reach that high.
Either way, something must have hit him.
What if Wolfie fell over? With how spindly he is, one tiny misstep could leave the poor fella bruised for days.
Skinny guys bruise easily, eh? Let's see if you're right. Ulysses, fall over.
No thank you.
Yeah, come on, Ulysses. Be a player. Something must have caused a bruise on Wolfgang's neck. What could it have been?
I think it's safe to say.
Maybe Wolfgang got into a fight?
Someone
Might have attacked him.
No.
and aimed for his
neck. If you can even reach that high. Either way, something must have hit him.
There we go.
I got it.
Yeah, me agreeing with my homie Kai.
Kai is right. Something did hit Wolfgang.
Really? Man. And I was only blurting out the first thing which came to mind. Anyway, from how you're wording things, do you know what that something is?
A rolling pin.
Eh?
Wolfgang was hit with a rolling pin.
How on earth did you reach that conclusion?
Ava and I found this pin inside storage closet A, which is just a few feet from the crimes. Coincidentally, the pin also has a dent.
And fingerprints
You
used
sure
to
that's enough to say
show
it's
his head like
involved?
a bat.
No. There's something else which solidifies this pin's role in the murder. Handprints. 2 of them on the edge of the pin.
So the killer used a rolling pin to attack Wolfgang?
It certainly explains the bruising on his neck.
They must have wanted him to be unconscious so he wouldn't fight back.
Exactly. It would be easier to drag him into the water if he's not awake.
You reckon the killer purposely put Wolfie in the water?
Yep.
Bam! With one electrified blow, Wolfgang is zapped to bits with the taser! Since he's lying in the water, he's definitely a goner.
Considering the logical ethos of the killer's rectitude, especially when governed under constricting pressure, leaving him catatonic would be the most facile solution.
Okay. Those were words.
I guess it makes sense.
After shooting Wolfgang with this laser, what was the killer's next move? If I figure that out, I'll be one step closer to solving this case. Non-stop debate. Gaming tournament.
So let me get this
timeline?
straight. The killer knocked out Wolfgang with a rolling pin, and then chucked the pin into closet A?
When exactly did they discard the pin?
They couldn't have done it when Eva and I were already downstairs.
I agree.
Because the 2 of us went inside closet A.
Why were you inside the closet?
To find the backup generator, remember? Jed and I checked closet B. Damon and Kai checked closet C.
It's also true.
Eva and Grace checked closet A. And Jean and Mark checked closet D.
What?
The killer just discarded the pin. Before we came downstairs.
Yeah, I think Mark's right. 'Cause the killer could run upstairs and go back to their room immediately after discarding the pin.
Just because the killer placed the pin early doesn't mean they left before we arrived. Footsteps, yeah.
Let me get
The killer knocked out Wolfgang with a rolling pin, and then chucked the pin into closet A? When exactly did they discard the pin? They couldn't have done it when Eva and I were already downstairs. Because the 2 of us went inside closet A. Why were we inside the closet? To find the backup generator, remember? Jed and I checked closet B. Damon and Kai checked closet C. Eva and Grace checked closet A. And Jean and Mark checked closet D.
Cassidy has a really good memory, honestly.
Before we came downstairs.
Yeah,
I think Mark's right.
'Cause the killer could run upstairs
And go back to
their room immediately after discarding the pin.
No, that's
Let's go. No, that's wrong.
Diana, there's proof the killer fled the underground hallway at a later time. When the tournament attendees were looking for a backup generator,
Kai and I heard someone run past our room.
Huh?
Oh man, that's right. We were just exploring the closet when all of a sudden we heard footsteps in the hallway. That's when Damon decided he was gonna follow where the footsteps came from and entered the boiler room.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone else hear these footsteps?
Nope. Not ringing any bells.
Yeah, Jet and me didn't really hear it over all our talking.
I heard the footsteps.
Huh? You did?
Well, I initially thought it was my imagination, so I never said anything.
Ashamed to say I also brushed off the footsteps. Thought I was hearing things. However, since other people can attest to hearing them.
Then someone else was on the underground floor
it's
with
theoretically the person who... I'm still not... Well, okay. It has never been confirmed whether or not, or how many people need to discover a body before a body discovery announcement is made. In the original games, it's 3, but it's not been specified in this one. But assuming that it's... I said this last time. Assuming that it's also 3 this time, it doesn't make sense why the announcement would have only rung if only me and Kai had discovered him. Because unless the killer is alongside other people, then they count as discovering the body. But if they just go back by themselves, it doesn't count. And if that was the person, if the person who caused the footsteps was running away from the crime scene, if it needs 3 people to make an announcement, that person isn't the killer. But if it doesn't matter, then that person is the killer. Even so, the person... We need to find someone who is alone. The only other person I can think of who was for sure alone in that time was Diana. You, Diana.
Before anyone tries to bring it up, none of the tournament attendees could have been the person running. Since everyone explored the closets in pairs, they all have solid alibis.
I'm sure we can all vouch for that, aye?
Everyone was still in their closets after Damon and I found Wolfgang. So...
Considering the footsteps were moving away from the crime scene, I think it's safe to say they belong to the killer.
Wouldn't that mean the killer fled while you guys were exploring the rooms?
Hold up! So the killer had been right next to us?
Doy, that's a given.
Huh? How are you so calm after hearing that? The only thing which stood between us and a murderer was a door. What if they attacked us?
Well, they didn't, so I don't see what the problem is.
Sheesh, you're weird.
Why not run away earlier, though? Fleeing while everyone is searching seems really risky.
Maybe it was a miscalculation?
It's not impossible, I guess.
If not that, then maybe the killer returned to the boiler room after discarding the pin?
Sounds pretty meat-headed if you ask me.
Yes, you'd think a killer would use that moment to run away.
For the 2 who heard the footsteps, describe the sound.
Pat, 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 pat. It was like that. It was pat, pat, pat.
It was kinda... socky. As in, it sounded pretty soft. Like the person had taken off their shoes.
Saki, huh? Seems this killer was purposefully trying to keep quiet.
'Cause their footsteps were soft?
That seems like a leap in logic.
No, I get what she's saying. Everyone here has socks on, I'm pretty sure. So any one of us could have run down the hallway. The thing with shoes is, not everyone here has the same kind. If the killer had worn theirs, we might have been able to figure out their footwear from
That's
the
some pretty
sound
good
it made
thinking
on the
there,
floor.
Kai.
Then we just have to single out the person with that footwear. Man, it would have been so easy to find the killer.
Theoretically, you could look for someone who has the most unique footwear that will make a distinct sound, like heels. Like, most people are wearing sneakers, but if you're wearing heels and you're the only person wearing heels, maybe just like, you know, heels make a distinct clicking sound.
Find the killer, though.
Oh.
What?
Oi, are you pulling our leg?
I'm completely serious. Picture a map of the building complex in your head. The building with the dorms is on the left, the courtyard is in the middle, and the building with the tree is on the right. Now, try and pin everyone's locations during Wolfgang's murder. Once you do that, the identity of the killer will definitely become clear.
Because Diana was the only one who wasn't with anyone.
Someone whose position we can't place?
No, it's not about position.
Eh?
Wolfgang's killer can easily lie about their location during the murder. The only thing distinguishing their testimony from everyone else's is that theirs can't be corroborated.
In which case, our killer... Yes, that's right. The only one here who can possibly be the killer is you. Diana!
It has to be you!
Diana, it's you, isn't it?
Her? The makeup girl?
She's the only one here without an alibi. Those of us who attended the tournament can obviously be ruled out. And as for those who didn't, Desmond and Eloise were in the courtyard. Toshiko and Ingrid were in the same dorm room.
What about Winona? She never mentioned an alibi.
Give me a break.
Winona and I were in the building with the tree all morning. In fact, yes, Desmond and Eloise should have witnessed us walking over there, as those two were in the courtyard at the time.
Yeah. That's true.
In that case, Diana really is the only one without an alibi.
Guys,
If she's the person who fled the boiler room, those footsteps we heard make a lot more sense. Heels make a pretty loud clop sound.
That's what
on
I
hard
was
floors,
saying.
And the underground hallway's floor is pretty hard. Diana would obviously want to take them off. Also, heels aren't comfy to run in.
Whoa. I didn't even think of it like that. You're totally right, though. Since Diana's the only one here with heels, she would have to take them off.
Guys, what are you talking about? Me? A killer? Do you really think I could be a killer?
Diana, honestly, I suspected you from the very beginning.
The fact you weren't at the tournament is incriminating enough.
Not just that. Everyone but you has an alibi.
But I do have an alibi.
Say it.
Right, Ava?
Huh?
You woke up with me this morning, and you never saw me leave my dorm.
During the brief amount of time we were together, I never saw you leave. What you did after I left for the game tournament, however, is anyone's guess.
Ava wanted to help me and Cass set up the tournament, so we told her to swing by early.
For that reason, I left Diana's dorm at 8:05 a.m. I know the exact time since her room has a clock. I probably entered the dining hall around 8:10 a.m.-ish.
So much for an alibi then.
Diana, don't tell me.
It feels too soon, though. It feels too soon to, like, have the person ready.
Smokes, it's all falling into place!
Are we sure there hasn't been some sort of misunderstanding?
Yeah, I want to review the case.
It's not possible. Diana can't be the killer.
But how would she instigate a blackout?
No! I refuse to believe it!
I still think Ingrid's line of saying, "Oh, I saw you go down to the basement," is suspicious. How could she have seen us if there was a blackout? It looks like some people here aren't willing to face the facts. That's not a problem. I'll make them face the facts. Whether they like it or not, soon enough nobody will be able to deny Diana killed Wolfgang. Is she? This feels really soon. Storage closets, rolling pin. I feel like we're not even halfway through the trial.
If it was Diana inside that boiler room, could she be the one who left the blood trail? Because if so, that might be her blood on the knife, too.
Diana's blood?
No.
Are you saying she wounded herself?
Wounded herself? What makes you think that?
I don't know. Why else would the killer's blood be on their own weapon?
Did we not already agree the killer was wielding a rolling pin?
Well, maybe they had both. The rolling pin in one hand, and the knife in the other.
Dual wielding weapons? Holy, this killer's next level.
Suspicious note. That person's point is clearly impossible. They should realize as much. Point out that piece of evidence.
If it was Diana inside that boiler room, could she be the one who left the blood trail? Because if so, that might be her blood on the knife, too.
Diana's blood? Are you saying she wounded herself?
Wounded herself?
No, I don't
What
think
makes
so.
you think that?
I don't know.
I'm looking at the
Why
steel
else would
rolling
the
pin
killer's blood
again.
be on their own weapon?
A dusty rolling pins on one end is a small dent, the other two very clear. 2 hands, so she can't dual wield, that's it.
Did we not already agree? The killer was wielding a rolling pin?
Well, maybe they had both. The rolling pin.
In one hand.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
Alright, let's do it. I would believe Ulysses was the one.
The killer was only wielding the rolling pin during their confrontation with Wolfgang. You can tell just from looking at the pin. There are 2 handprints wrapped around the edge, as if the killer had been. Which makes sense because you can.
Maybe that's why Diana went to the laundry room, because if she was wounded by. Wait, did I say Ulysses? I meant Wolfgang. If Wolfgang was smart enough to bring a weapon, which honestly I don't put it past him to bring his own weapon just in case, he might have wounded her, you know, caused the blood, and of course it would cause her clothing to be bloody. She went back to her room to patch herself up and change into new clothes, and then went to the laundry room during the investigation to wash away the evidence.
Then, who held the knife?
It wasn't the killer, so it was most likely the only other person in the boiler room. Wolfgang Akire.
Akire, okay.
What the hell are you talking about? Wolfgang, carrying a dangerous weapon? Bullshit!
If you were in his situation, wouldn't you? Wolfgang received an anonymous message asking him to meet in a basement, all whilst in the middle of a killing game. At that point, it doesn't matter how much of an optimist he is. He'd know better than to come unarmed.
A knife isn't super hard to find, either. Wolfgang probably just stole one from the kitchen.
Besides, if Diana is the one who got stabbed, it would explain the blood trail. Think about it. She arms herself with the rolling pin and attacks Wolfgang, getting hurt by him in the process. For some reason, possibly because of the blackout, she doesn't clean the blood trail she's leaving, and returns to her dorm room after.
No! That's wrong!
And she is a cosmetologist. She does no cosmetics. She would be able to hide a wound.
Huh?
I wasn't stabbed. If I was stabbed, then I'd have an injury. But there's nothing, right? There's nothing on me.
Depends. If a vein got nipped, you'd be seeing blood no matter the size of the cut. Of course. That also means a small cut will need bandaging, which I'm not seeing on you.
You may not see any injuries on Diana, but that doesn't mean they aren't there.
Huh?
If she wanted, she could simply hide her injuries from view.
Exactly.
After all, someone like her has exactly what it takes.
Her talent. Diana's talent.
I got it. Her talent as the ultimate cosmetologist.
It makes sense. With the right equipment, she could probably disguise even a bandaged wound.
As Diana's bunking partner, I've seen firsthand how many different cosmetics are inside her room. So unfortunately, I have to agree.
Well, Diana, did I get anything wrong?
No. No. But
Wait. Diana, did you just say no? As in, no, you're not wrong that I covered up my wounds?
Yeah. Come on, Diana.
Oh, crap. You guys know what this means, right, guys? Diana basically just confessed!
A confession? Are you for real?
It makes sense, though.
Oh my gosh, as suspicious as I was of her, it feels too soon.
Diana got wounded, which proves she got in a fight with Wolfgang, which means all that stuff about Wolfgang going to the boiler room, all that stuff really did happen.
I see. I see now what you were saying. Diana. She lured Wolfgang to the boiler room by writing him that note. And when he arrived, she attacked him.
I'm checking her handwriting. Doesn't match. John still matches the most.
And now, She's been lying this entire trial, hoping we would never suspect her. Yeah! How cruel!
Diana, you...
It wasn't me! I promise. It wasn't me.
You're gonna have to get a better defense than that, because I can't see it being anyone else at this moment. As much as I'm now weary of it being you, I can't think of anyone else it could be.
To think she could preach about friendship after committing a violent crime.
And then try and sentence the rest of us to punishment.
Golly, you're right. If we voted for the wrong person, we...
That's so fucked! Seriously, Diana? What the hell is your damage?
Can we at least hear Diana's side of the story?
Yes, can we please?
Her side?
Well, you know, Diana has, I just think it's fair we listen.
What does it matter what she says? Look at the evidence. This case, it's closed. We know who the killer is. If you really want to ask for Diana's side of the story, then do it after the vote.
No! No, no!
Vote? That's right, we have to vote for the killer. Diana, I've proven beyond a reasonable doubt that she's the killer. I've proven it beyond a reasonable doubt, so...
No. No. No.
Why is it that when I hear her cry, I get this strange nagging feeling in my chest? Why does a tiny part of me want to believe the things she's saying? Why all of a sudden? Do I doubt myself? Suspicious, no, knife, taser, gun.
Diana was the one who lured Wolfgang to the boiler room. Once he got there, she killed him immediately.
Wait,
Then
how do I
she
deal with
fled the
those?
crime scene.
Change bullet, fire bullet. I guess I just... Okay, yeah.
Hoping the rest of us would never learn the truth.
How could you, Diana?
Suspicious, no.
Poor
no.
Wolfie was only trying to keep us together.
But I would never murder Wolfgang.
If you don't have an alibi, then you obviously did.
But I...
I wanted to believe so badly that you were innocent.
How do we prove her innocence?
If this goes on any longer, I'm gonna be sick.
What are we waiting for then? Let's get this over with and vote!
I don't know. How is it possible? Is Dinah telling the truth? How is that possible when I already know the truth? It can't be possible. Not unless...
Diana was the one who lured Wolfgang to the boiler room. Once he got
Taser
there,
gun.
she killed him immediately.
Then she fled the crime scene, hoping the rest of us would never learn the truth.
How could
Maybe
you,
killed him
Diana?
immediately is the
Poor
wrong
Wolfie
thing?
was only trying to keep us together.
But I would never murder Wolfgang.
If you don't have an alibi, then you obviously did.
But I wanted to believe so badly that you were innocent. Why didn't I see you for who you were?
If this goes on any longer, I'm gonna be sick.
What are we waiting for then?
I think I'm just gonna do some trial and error on this one.
Diana was the one who lured Wolfgang to the boiler room. Once he got there, she killed him immediately.
Okay.
That doesn't mean shit. She had every Diana was the one who lured Wolfgang to the boiler room. Once he got there, she killed him immediately.
Oh,
She
whoops.
fled the crime
I pressed the
scene.
wrong button.
That doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna trial and error this
Diana
one.
was the one who... Once he got there, she killed him immediately.
No, that's wrong!
Here we go.
Hold on. Grace, you're overlooking a crucial detail.
Huh?
Do you recall the note I found in Wolfgang's blazer pocket? It asked him to meet in the boiler room at 8:15 a.m. But, according to the Tozu tablet, he died over an hour later at 9:35 a.m. That means Wolfgang didn't die right after he got to the boiler room.
What's your point?
My point is that the killer had no reason to lure Wolfgang to the boiler room and then wait over an hour to kill him. There's no guarantee another person won't enter the room during that time. It's in the killer's best interest to be in and out of there as fast as possible. When we originally discussed the note, we lacked the context to properly understand this time discrepancy. But if we go with your idea that Diana killed Wolfgang immediately, then that discrepancy becomes all too clear.
How do you know Wolfgang didn't just arrive late?
He was already on his way when I ran into him at 8:10 a.m. He must have arrived on time.
Same goes for the killer. I doubt Wolfgang would stay in the boiler room for long if no one came to meet him. For that reason, we can assume Wolfgang was knocked unconscious soon after he arrived. But there's such a long period of time between him being knocked out and him being killed. Unless you want to tell me he and Diana were in an hour-long struggle, then I'm sure there's more to the mystery here.
Shut the fuck up!
Really? What are you arguing here?
What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't you see this as a trick? All of Diana's blubbering and crying is just a farce to make us think she's innocent.
I wouldn't fall for a farce like that. My only concern is the evidence not adding up.
If you're still not convinced Diana is the killer, then let me show you something you overlooked. I call it undeniable fucking proof!
Show it to me. Okay, what is it? Suspicious no storage closets. I have no idea.
Damn what Diana says. Not only is she the one person without an alibi, the blood from her wounds places her inside the exact same room where Wolfgang died. How can the killer be anyone but her?
If Diana lured Wolfgang downstairs, why would she take over an hour to kill him? It doesn't make sense. Not when there's a risk of someone else entering the boiler room.
What risk? Diana wouldn't have to worry.
Oh, yeah.
About anyone walking in. Because she could just lock the fucking door. Boom. Look at that. No intruders. Now take your argument and shove it up your ass.
Okay, yeah. I think I swiped too early on that one.
What risk? Diana wouldn't have to worry about anyone walking in. Because she could just lock the fucking door!
I'll cut through those words!
The lock was, for some reason, on the other side of the door. For some reason. Why? Some reason.
The boiler room door can't be relied upon here. If Diana locked it, she would be trapping herself inside the boiler room.
What?
The doorknob has been flipped so that the keyhole faces inside, while the lock faces outside. Had you investigated the crime scene more closely, you might have realized this detail sooner.
Exactly, period.
Locking the door would lock everyone inside the room, not outside. If Diana was the killer, she'd be better off leaving the door open.
How the heck do you even flip a doorknob? Sounds like something only a tradesperson could do.
Meh. You really think so? Swapping a doorknob is easy. Well, last time I did anything like it was a while ago, but everyone here knows knobs are screwable, right? If you get a screwdriver and know what you're doing, you can rotate the doorknob quick smart.
If you can swap a doorknob, then I guess anyone can.
Wow,
Right
that
on.
felt like a low blow.
Wait, are you saying that like it's a bad thing, or?
Is that why Diana remained in the boiler room after Wolfgang died? She had been locked inside?
What do you make of the footsteps then? If they were Diana's, it would imply she escaped the boiler room. How do you suppose she did that?
Randomly escaping the boiler room, huh? The evidence in the boiler room, I'm fairly confident I can deduce a method. Where was it?
This is it.
Aha, lockpick! I got that right.
Near the boiler room door, I discovered a thin piece of metal. At first glance, it didn't look important, but if you were to fold it in half, theoretically, it would look like a hairpin.
Ah, she used the classic maneuver, picking a lock with a hairpin. It can be done, it just takes a bit of practice.
Diana probably had this hairpin inside her makeup bag. So, she used it to fiddle with the lock until it eventually came undone.
Exactly.
Which, judging by the timing of her footsteps, happened late into the blackout.
Messing with a lock in pitch blackness. Whew, now that would be impossible for me.
Right. Even if Diana did access light, like through the Tozu trinket, undoing the lock would still be difficult. Way too difficult of a situation to deliberately put herself in.
In which case, that can mean only one thing. She was locked in.
I got it.
Someone else must have locked the door.
What?
If we go with our current train of thought, the doorknob was rearranged so you could only lock it from the outside.
True.
It doesn't make sense for Diana to rearrange the lock, enter the room, and deliberately trap herself inside, which means someone else must have locked the door. I know this doesn't necessarily clear Diana's suspicion, but it's strange enough to warrant further investigation.
Aye. I'd rather resolve this thread before we move on to voting.
Thank you, John.
Agreed.
And
We
Ulysses.
could easily miss something important if we turn our noses away.
So, why did this mystery person close the door in the first place?
What if they saw the scuffle between Wolfie and Diana and closed the door to protect themselves?
Instead of seeking help? Or trying to stop the scuffle?
You say that like closing the door isn't exactly what you would do.
What kind of asshole do you take me for?
Any chance they locked it to prevent Diana from escaping?
And somehow unscrewed the doorknob without drawing attention to themselves?
Didn't you hear him? He's talking about the door being locked, not the doorknob being unscrewed.
Unless two entirely different people just so happen to interfere with the boiler room at two entirely separate intervals. The one who locked the door is most likely the one who flipped it, yes?
Yes.
Then you should be wondering the same thing. How did they unscrew the doorknob without catching anyone's
Could have done
attention?
it at night.
Yeah, doesn't sound possible.
Not in the moment, it isn't. But what if the doorknob had been swapped beforehand?
Exactly.
Say this person knew Wolfgang and Diana were coming to the boiler room. They could have swapped the knob in advance, waited for Diana and Wolfgang to enter, and then closed and locked the door.
So the flipping of the doorknob was premeditated?
Yep.
With what we currently know, I'd wager it's our safest assumption, at least until we hear Diana's side of the story.
Diana, since you were the last person with Wolfgang, your testimony could be our most valuable piece of evidence yet. You need to tell me what happened. If not for me, or for you, then at the very least, do it for Wolfgang's sake.
I'm sorry. I'm really
Ooh.
I wanted to help. I wanted to make everything okay.
It looks like it's been painted. The art looks like it's been painted on a canvas. I like that. At least at the hair.
But all I could do was be useless. All I could do was watch him die. It's all my fault. All my fault. For doing the wrong thing.
So is this a confession, or?
No!
Huh?
I didn't kill Wolfgang. And I don't know who did, but I still failed him as a friend. I failed him then. And I failed him here. But if I told the truth, things would be worse than they already are. But now that I've said nothing...
Diana watched Wolfgang die?
It's okay, sweetheart. Come on now, take deep breaths.
Yeah, we'll believe you no matter what you say.
That's a lie and you know it, Kai. It's looking like Diana might actually be innocent. It's looking like that, but the nagging feeling in my chest still hasn't gone away. Damn it, what am I doing? Because of one girl, I've been doubting myself and jumping from one argument to another. I can't piece together my own thoughts. How can I possibly piece together this case? I need to get a grip on myself. I need to keep sight of myself and the goal of this killer. Whatever is thrown at me, I need to persevere. Because if I don't, if everyone else here votes wrong, I won't leave this place alive. Intermission?
Has all this murder hubbub left your head in a tizzy?
Oh, absolutely.
Perhaps you need a short break. Something to lighten the mood and let you collect yourself.
I was just thinking that.
Something like a nice cup of tea.
Wouldn't you believe it? I have tea with me right now.
Welcome, one and all, to the first episode of Tozu's Tea Time.
Wonderful.
If you haven't already, please sit back and relax. Here, we do not use our brains, but deal only in gossip. Now, a question from me to you. What are sheep good at, if anything? Most humans, and some sheep, tend to respond with a resounding absolutely nothing. Sheep cannot create art or invent medicine. For goodness sake, they can't even perform music! Their limited speech and quadrupedal locomotion prevents them from reaching the heights of humans. They're practically glued to the lower echelons of the food chain. No matter how hard sheep may try, they will never be anything more than their number tags.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I can't say I like that answer. Too pessimistic for me. Plus, what of the sheep who still try? The sheep who realize their fate but continue to challenge it all the same. That they can be so determined to prove their worth when humans have all but deemed them microwavable meals. Isn't that something admirable? What a shame our sheep had to be so misguided. It seems that's about all the time we have. Thank you again for attending Tozu's Tea Time. No need for extravagant farewells. I've an inkling you'll be back for tea sooner than you can say Jack Robinson. Who's Jack Robinson? I have no idea.
Neither do I, man. Neither do I. Ta-ta. I like this guy.
Diana, now's your chance to defend yourself. Tell me what...
Oh, shit.
Where do I even start, though?
How about you begin by explaining why you went to the boiler room?
Why I went there?
Am I able to save the game? Yes, I am. Alright, I'm gonna end it there, and we're gonna find our killer in the next episode. Goodbye.